The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "Woe to you, Scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You lock the kingdom of heaven before men. You do not enter yourselves, nor do you allow entrance to those trying to enter. Woe to you, Scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You traverse sea and land to make one convert, and when that happens, you make him a child of Gehenna twice as much as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if one swears by the temple, it means nothing. But if one swears by the gold of the temple, one is obligated. Blind fools, which is greater, the gold of the temple or the temple itself that made the gold sacred? And if you say, if one swears by the altar, it means nothing. But if one swears by the gift on the altar, one is obligated. You blind ones, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? One who swears by the altar swears by it and all that is upon it. One who swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it. One who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who is seated on it. The Gospel of the Lord. It is difficult to hear and understand when Jesus is so violently even condemning certain groups of people, like the Scribes and the Pharisees here, calling them hypocrites. What does the word hypocrite mean? Well, it's actually, in Greek, the same word as an actor. A Hippocrates was an actor on a stage. Actors in Greek drama always wore masks. That's where you get that idea of the smiling mask for comedy and the frowning mask for tragedy. You knew what kind of a character that was by what kind of mask they were wearing. But in drama, that's only play acting. You know, if you're watching a play, that the mask that somebody may be wearing or the way that they are acting now in a play or in a movie is not really the real person, but is a mask, is a way of acting that does not correspond to really the way the person is. So you can have some very, very virtuous people playing very evil people in drama and in the movies, and we know better. You can also have some not very good people playing in plays or in movies saints. You know, many of the lives of the saints in movies are played by people whose lives, you look at them, they're not necessarily that virtuous. So when you hear the word hypocrite, what that means primarily is play acting. Now, what are we to make of Jesus' condemnation of the Scribes and the Pharisees as hypocrites? Well, clearly, he was seeing through a charade that they were making, putting up a front. Now, Jesus can do that. The thing is, there's only one person that you or I can judge as a hypocrite, and that is ourselves, the person that we see when we look in the mirror. We cannot and must not point that accusing finger at others, because we really don't know what is in the depths of their hearts. In fact, I think if any of us look in the depths of our own hearts, we will see that it's difficult to come to an understanding of what really is there, what really are my desires, what really are my intentions. I know what I'd like them to be, I know what I want to be, but do I really measure up to that? That's the only judgment we can make. And that's a judgment, if we're going to judge ourselves, our judgment on ourselves needs to be done with love, not with condemnation. Because when the Lord judges us in this life, he does not condemn. He seeks to move us into genuine honesty. He seeks to move us into making our lives truly conform with what we profess our ideals are that we want them to be. So in prayer, what we need to do is, first of all, examine what are my ideals? Do my ideals square with those of Jesus' kingdom? Do I model myself, my ideals, on what Christ does and says in the Gospels? And if we can honestly say, yes, I'm trying to do that, then what we need to do is to ask ourselves, how well do we succeed? And if we find that we're not really succeeding too well, that's a time to pray for the grace to be able to bring our own lives a little more in conformity with the way of Jesus. So we pray first, and then we try to cooperate with the grace that the Lord gives us